Alright, so today what I want to show you guys is just a basic example of how you can navigate a widget, such as a menu, using a controller on keyboard and mouse, as opposed to using keyboard and mouse. A friend of mine is making a project and they wanted to have keyboard support as well as controller support, so I was helping them out by implementing this effect. So when I hit play here, we have a basic widget that comes up for a main menu. And all it's using is a vertical box with some custom made buttons. And so like you can see, if I use the mouse to hover over it, it kind of highlights them, showing that it's blue, that's the one I have hovered over. But I can also do the same thing with my up and down on the D-pad on my controller that I have plugged in. It's hard to see, but you can kind of see there's a little dotted line around. Right now it says new game, now it says load game, options, and quit game. The way this functions is essentially we had to create a custom button. It just contains a button and some text, and these need to be variables inside of the canvas panel. And then so what it's doing is we have button styles set up. And so we have, first of all, we also have a custom dispatcher, so that way whenever the button's clicked, it calls this dispatcher and then it activates. So like when it's clicked, it just calls button clicked. We have events for setting the button text, so it's a special event in here, so that way when I call it on the other menu, at the begin play we can set up the text for each individual button. And then we have widgets set up so that way when we have it hovered, the button should show, or when it's added to the focus path, it should show the different styles. Now for some reason it's not quite doing it the way it should be with the controller, but you can still see the outline. I'm still working on that, but it still functions the same way. So now what we did in our main menu as well as our pause menu, they're basically set up the same way, is that on the construction of it I have a sequence going off, and I've basically added in the different buttons here. These are button blueprints that I created, the one that we just shown. So instead of adding a normal button, I'm just pulling this user created, and I'm adding these inside of a vertical box that I have here. And I set up the alignment and spacing for all that stuff. So on the sequence, we're setting the text here for each button, and then we're setting the we're binding the events to each button clicked. So you can see I have a bind event to click button for each one of the buttons I have on my menu, and then I'm dragging off the event and setting up the different functionalities for each individual button here. After I do the bind events, I'm also adding a delay, cycling through each button to set the focus. That's what the set keyboard focus is, so that way it initializes them all. Then, so a good example of this, for our new game, so if we click new game, it's going to delete whatever save, it's going to delete the game that we have saved in our save slot named save 1. And then it's just going to open up the level test 1. If we load game, it's going to cast to our game mode and get the save and load that. And that is the basic functionality of how this works. Thanks for watching.